But it's not what you can't do, it's what you can do. We're always quick to jump on the victim or too hard basket. And then another one would be from Brendan McCullum, run into fear. When we shit ourselves, we run away from fear or the storm, and the storm keeps chasing you. Just go headbutt the storm and you'll come out the other side much quicker. So that's a big one, because there would have been examples for everyone, whoever's listening, that in a work environment that you're running away from something and eventually it just catches you and you go, should have done that earlier. So yeah, run into fear.
Welcome to the M26 FIT Podcast, where we explore the connection between having a strong mind and a strong body.
Today's special guest is Australian cricketing legend Chirs Lynn. Welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thanks, Magsy. Thanks for having me, mate. I've been looking forward to this.
Mate, awesome. Now, you played Shield cricket for Queensland. You represented Australia in both 50 overs and T20, and you're known as one of the best batsmen on the planet in the short form of the game, mate. That's not a bad little title.
Yeah, but funny enough, that's only about 3 teams out of 30 that I played for with all the T20 franchise stuff. Mate, as a kid, you know, your dreams playing for Australia, right? Albeit I didn't quite get there in Test cricket, but my time with T20 cricket and one-day cricket was so much fun. Played with some of the world's best. I got to play in my hometown at the Gabba. Made my one-day debut at the Gabba as well, which is pretty special. But yeah, it's mate, I tell you what, it goes quick. But again, I wouldn't change anything for the world. It's so much fun playing for Australia. What better way to put a smile on 25 million Australians?
Right, absolutely. What's the biggest six that you've ever hit?
Biggest six? Well, I think it's pretty well documented. The one that I hit Sean Tate out here at the Gabba. It's quite funny because when he was running in, big Tatey, they call him the wild thing, right? He doesn't know where they're going. So how am I supposed to know where they're going? And he's steaming in. I'm shitting myself. Like, I'm not going to lie. It's his first ball of his spell. And I'm back with Brendan McCullum, my bash brother, my best mate. And, you know, first ball was generally around the top of off stump for most bowlers of their spell. And I just thought, you know what, because he bowls that quick, I'm actually going to have to come premeditate my shot on my downswing before he lets the ball go. So I've done it, and it's bowled right in the spot when I wanted it, and just going bang. Like, you bite down your mouth guard, and you just go. And yeah, ended up going over the Cricketers Club into the training nets, and they got a photo with the ball on the nets actually, out of the ground. So it was definitely a highlight of my career. But I was most nervous because guess what? I got to face the next ball, and guess what? He's even more angrier. But no, Tatey's a good man. But yeah, that's definitely one of the sweeter ones I've hit.
Yeah. Who do you reckon is going to win the T20 World Cup, and why aren't you playing?
Who's going to win? Well, I'm back in Australia. But just because the guys have played so much cricket in that part of the world, whereas a lot of other countries don't have the depth that have played that style of cricket. I mean, there's currently a game going on, England versus West Indies, and West Indies are playing phenomenal cricket, and
they are.
You know, and the pitches haven't been a run fest like the IPI over the last couple of weeks. So you got to adapt. You got to be a little bit more patient, which is probably why it's a little bit interesting why we don't have Steve Smith or Magnus Olson over there. Why am I not there? Simply because those guys are too good. I mean, look, I haven't played for Australia for a couple of years now. I've got no regrets. I have had a shoulder niggle that hasn't let me be 100% taking the field, and I do believe to play for your country, play for Australia, you've got to be 100% fit taking the field. There was a stage there where I was playing, I wasn't quite fit, and I didn't do myself any justice. I can get away with it at domestic level, but when you're playing for Australia, you got to be fit, and you do get found out as well. The players are that much better, much smarter. But as I said, the boys have got the cattle there to bring another trophy home. They didn't win it when the World Cup was here 2 years ago, but they won it the year before in Dubai. So 2 out of 3 would be pretty cool. And to add along to the one-day World Cup, that'd be pretty special.
Yeah, go the Aussies, mate. Let's circle back. So you're born in Brisbane. You went to school at Nudgee. How old were you when you first realised that you were pretty good at hitting a cricket ball?
Well, I played rugby league when I was 5, so I started cricket when I was 8. So that felt like a generation, you know. So I felt like I was a late bloomer to the cricket,
Yep.
And it was simply because my old man played water polo for Australia, and one of his mates' boys was playing cricket, and they were shorter player. So he goes, "Mate, can you play?" I was like, "Yeah, no dramas." Saturday morning, you know, a bit of dew out there, have a whack. I ended up getting a hat trick and hitting 3 sixes as an under 8s, and sixes were unheard of as an 8-year-old. And I get a hat trick, so I walk off and go, it's pretty easy this game, eh? I'll give it a go. And then, yeah, just the challenge between bat and ball. everyone's an all-rounder when you're a young kid. So I bowled left arm swing, but as I got older, I bowled a little left arm spin, a bit like the great Darren Lehman.
Yep.
A little nude nuts or whatever you want to call it. But I found that, I just love that, as I said, that challenge, a bit like a boxing match between bat and ball. And as you get older, tactics come into it. And I think with the rugby league background that I had, having that ability to hit the ball a little bit harder always helped. It put a little bit more fear in that bowling lineup.
Yeah. Well, in 2007, a good mate of mine, he was playing for the Wanderers, and you were still schoolboy at Nudgee, and they'd heard about this little young gun. And in that game, he said that you came out and you smashed a double 100. Do you remember that?
I actually do, believe it or not. It was actually my first game playing on Ross Oval, the great first 15 rugby school of Nudgee College. But yeah, I'm playing for the first 11 cricket on Ross Oval up at Boondall there, and just there's so much history. It's making your debut as such against the Wanderers. It was a Wednesday too, so you get the afternoon or the whole day off school to play this cricket game. So there's all your schoolmates come out from class at lunch. And, you're the man, right? You want to be the man. So I actually ended up walking in at 3 for 5. I'm thinking, shit, this is my debut. I'm 3 for 5. Don't be 4 for 5.
No.
But yeah, ended up with a little bit of luck and ended up on about 201 not out, I believe. And kind of kick-started, I suppose, when you're at a big prestige school like that, how do you earn your stripes? How do you earn respect? And it's actually through your sporting talents. I was only in grade 11 at that stage. So the grade 12 was obviously hated me because I'd taken someone in the first 11 spot, and you're playing rugby and all these other sports. So I gained a little bit of respect that way. And before you know it, the Thursday I'm walking around strutting your stuff, whatnot. But that was a real cool feeling, knowing that you can perform in front of people as well.
Yep.
Because like anyone, you get nervous when there's a crowd around. Right now I can play in front of 50, 60,000 people in front of the Gabba, but if there's 3 blokes behind me on the tee box at golf, I shit myself.
Yep.
So everyone's got different strengths and weaknesses. So for me, that was a big tick in earning respect and knowing that I could perform in front of people. So yeah, I remember that day as if it's yesterday.
Yeah. Do you have any other fond memories back in those early years before you turned professional?
Cricket-wise?
Yeah.
I think receiving my first ever baggy maroon. So I was very lucky. There was a bloke named Berwick Barnes who played for the Broncos and was a really good cricketer from Ippy Grammar. And he was in under 12s. He represented Queensland cricket and Queensland Rugby League and captained the both teams in the same year. So a very good memory of mine was I was the last bloke to do that from Berwick. So that was 2002. Yeah. Just anytime you receive anything maroon with a big Q badge on it, that's like that's you're good. Part of Queensland. You're watching all the State of Origins, Alfie, Wally, all them growing up, all the greats,
yep.
The Jimmy Mars, the Andy Bickles, just the war horses. So anytime you've got that maroon Queensland badge on, you're like, I'm part of this.
Yes.
Feel ingrained in it. And much like they say, New South Wales, they just don't get it. That's what it was like as a kid. So, it was really special.
What about academically? How did you go at school?
Look, I was a prefect, but I was a sporting prefect. My OP wasn't that great. I'm not even sure if they still have the OPs. It was around probably 12 to 14, but yep. The back end, I'd actually missed exams because I was bowling at the Australian cricket team because the first test was always at the Gabba back then, and our exams were always sort of running that same time frame. And if there was ever they needed net bowlers, and I wasn't even good at bowling. I just wanted to go join the Aussie boys and whatnot. So, probably that's what. I'll tell you what actually drove me more to be successful in cricket when I made a decision to play cricket. It was going to uni scared the shit out of me.
Yep.
Because I didn't know what to do. So I thought I better put my head down, better hit some balls, better go catch some balls in field and make the most of it.
That's not a bad excuse, though, is it? Like, sorry, I didn't get to school yesterday because I was too busy playing cricket with the Aussies at the Gabba.
Mate, it's awesome. Like, I remember it was the Ashes year, and I think Australia once again wiped them 5-0 and whatnot. But yeah, it was rubbing shoulders with those blokes. You go in the change room. You got Matty Hayden, Andrew Simons, and we carried one cricket bat round as a junior. They got about 8 or 9 now. I'm thinking, what's going on? They're massive. And so you're touching everyone's bats, playing with them. I like this. Thinking as if you know something about a cricket bat, yet you've got Ricky Ponting there. But yeah, it was really, really cool. And again, I wanted to be that person in that change room. So that's what it drove me, to train hard, work hard, all those little things, be disciplined, your routines, they all add up.
You mentioned some big names there. Did you have any particular idols growing up, and what sort of influence did they have on your career?
I think it'd be selfish if I only chose one of those names. Ponting, Gilchrist, Hayden, War, Langer, McGrath, Lee, Warren, Watson.
Wow. The
name just keeps going. You look at someone like Martin Love, Queensland great. He got a double 100 and got dropped, so you'd be real. One day in the backyard, you're Ricky Ponting. The next, you're Matthew Hayden. You know what I mean? So Matt Rogers from Rugby League, because I love Queensland Rugby League. He was a goal kicker. He was also a winger, but he also wasn't a big name. So I think players like Darren Lockyer, Gordon Tallis, I'm good mates with these blokes now.
Yep.
And you just look back and you go, how did I get the opportunity to become mates with these people that were superstars, and that's a cool thing. And I think one of my strengths was you just listen, right? So everyone's got advice. Something's gonna work, something's not gonna stick, and that's fine. But that's the beauty of those athletes. They always love giving back, and I think that's really special in Australian sport.
Yeah. To go right back to the beginning, what would your mum say about you as a kid when you were growing up?
Pain in the ass. I remember I was on one weekend of sport. I played for Main Tigers AFL, North Devils Rugby League, Brothers Rugby Union. So on a Friday night, if I had, I'd play 3 different codes on the same weekend. Sometimes I played 2 codes on one day, depending on the time. I'd be playing, with my Main Tigers AFL socks on a rugby league North Devils game.
Yep.
So they're basically a taxi, right? But what I can say is they give me the best opportunity to perform, not to perform, to succeed. Yep. So that's where we're very lucky. We were very lucky that Dad's parents lived next door as well. So there's an extra 2 set of wheels that we got to get us around. So as a kid, what would Mum think? Oh, yeah, pain in the ass, but there's a difference between good pain, bad pain, right?
I
think it's a good pain, not just the shit stirrer that sort of wastes away. I suppose it's different now. We got iPads, we got phones. I was never big on that, even though it was only just coming in when I was a youngster. I made my old man build a cricket net down the side of the house. There you go. So I'd rather have that than an iPad.
Yep.
So at least there's working towards something.
Yeah, no, well said. Now, you're a great player for Queensland. I think you were easily good enough, but you never went on to play Test cricket. I know that you did have aspirations for playing white ball cricket. Did you have any things, or was there anything in particular that you think why you didn't get selected?
Mate, it was probably when I had my double shoulder recon, to be honest. T20 cricket, obviously high impact, high intensity. One day cricket even higher because fielding is 4 or 5 hours, and then you should be batting long enough. I didn't quite play to my potential when I played for Australia, but that's okay. That might have been my limit. But the worst feeling in the world is being able to play day 1 and day 2 and not being able to lift your arm on day 3, 4, maybe 5. So you've let your teammates down. Yep. So you might have a big batting knock or 2 big days in the field, and then you can't get up for day 3 and 4.
Yep.
For me, that hurts more than letting the worst way you can let your team down. Yeah. So that played a role. It's not great. There was one summer there when I was playing for Queensland, we lost the toss and we fielded for every day of the summer. I I do like fielding, but I don't love fielding. So there was a little bit in that, but just the opportunity that T20 gave me as well, the pathways. I am, look, I'm not the most consistent batter, but if just say it's a 10-game season, I'm coming off twice with my own bat. And I'd like to think the other opener or number 3 will do the same. There's 6 wins. You're into the semis. So, those crowd-catching, eye-catching moments is what I'm about. As I said, if I'm consistent, then, yes, it's a good run, but maybe it's not as, flair as what I'm used to. But, one thing when I chose to just play T20 cricket, one thing I actually am really proud of is I haven't turned my back. I haven't, gone when I've had a run of outs, gone, you know what, I might give the long format a go again because people just see right through you. And it's funny, mindset's like if I go 0, 5, 10, people go, oh, you're out of form. I say, no, it's bullshit. I'm one game closer to man of the match. So you just flip it on its head. As I said, I don't panic if I haven't scored in the first 4 games because someone else will get that job done and then I'll click and then someone else will ride the wave off me. So otherwise you can get caught up in all this funny stuff. As you said, cricket's a funny game. You could go 100 and then 0 and all of a sudden your confidence is gone, right? No way, not here.
So was that shoulder injury, was that also that pivotal point when you decided to stop playing Shield Red Ball cricket and just to focus on that T20? Was that the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think I actually did it at training a couple of times. So in a sense, probably lucky that I didn't do it during a game, as I was talking about before, let your teammates down. But yeah, going through that was mentally tough. Obviously being a shoulder, I've had an ACL done before, and that was far easier than a full shoulder recon, simply because it's, shoulder's 360, whereas the knee's pretty much up and straight line. So frustrating, but just it allowed me to have a tournament, have a spell, get it strong again, then go again. Rather than if you're playing the Sheffield Shield season, it is back-to-back games, and you got to get up for it, and it was quite challenging. But all in all, as I said, we're entertainers, all right? Bums on seats. I love hitting the ball miles. That's how I started playing cricket. Hit 3-6s when I'm an 8-year-old. That's what I wanted to do when I was growing up. Always say the best form of defence is offence.
Yep. How have you seen T20 evolve over the years?
So watching the first, I went to IPL number 3, and obviously 1 and 2 were quite hectic, but even the years 3, 4, 5 they were very party orientated. So don't get me wrong, the cricket was still very serious, but it was a life outside of cricket that, there was the party life of the IPL. It's a hit and giggle, but how it's developed is there's so much more to it now, and it's actually gone the other way. So you hear people say, oh, the IPL, parties and all this. It's actually a complete opposite. And that's probably something to do with, obviously, the money at stake, the money that people put into the business, the ownership groups, and how professional the players are. We could probably say the same for World Series cricket, right? Alan Border used to take a 6-pack into training, wouldn't leave until it was finished, right? It's just the way the game has evolved. But also the skill set of the players too. We're seeing shots like reverse sweeps, going for 6, going for miles, and they're doing it first ball. It's actually amazing to watch. Blokes are practicing reverse sweeps before a block shot. So it's and this is why the best coaches evolve with the game. Some of the coaches or commentators you might hear, and everyone's guilty of it, being a little bit bitter, a little bit jealous, maybe because it's the money they're earning now, or the opportunities that they get that they didn't have back in the day when there was only 2 formats. Don't get me wrong, Viv Richards would have been outstanding, Mark, all these guys, probably far better players, naturally skilled-wise than a lot of current players, but there's so many more opportunities now. So that's the way the game's evolved, but the game never goes backwards, right?
It absolutely doesn't.
We want to see big scores, but on the flip side, like the World Cup now, we want to see a challenge between bat and ball where you got to use your cricket smarts. Shane Warne, best in the business. If he was playing T20 now, he would be an absolute genius, just because of his. He's just so far ahead of the game. and how cool was he to watch picking batsmen apart in the long format. That was so cool.
Yeah, how good. Now, this is one of my favourite parts, just understanding mental toughness, mental fitness, mental resilience, whatever you want to call it. We try and get inside Chirs Lynn's head. Do you remember a point in your career where you first felt the pressure?
Oh, shit. Probably any time, really. Yeah. Pressure's a good thing, right? Probably the time when I didn't feel pressure is when I actually everyone lost Phil Hughes, that tragedy. So to me, that just said, playing cricket, fucking who cares what happens, right? And apologies for swearing, but that was my mindset. Like, if that's the worst thing that can ever happen. Me dropping a catch or getting zero does not matter.
No.
So I felt pressure. Now I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because the sun will come up tomorrow for me.
Yep.
You got your friends and your family around you. So that was a big turning point for me.
Yep.
And yeah, mate, it sucked, right? It was horrible, but that's when I realised it was just a game.
Yep.
And the quicker I realised that, I can go out there, play without fear,
Yep.
and have some of your best innings.
Yeah.
And I don't mind having a beer the night before the game because it might relax you, or you might be interstate or overseas, people you don't get to see. I always make sure I'm available to catch up with those people, rather than being, oh no, I've got to go to bed, get 8 hours sleep, X, Y, Z, your routine. Don't get me wrong, your routine's important, but you can still play your best cricket, or do your best at your job or your role the next day, and have fun along the way. So going to COVID times, that was an absolute shit show for me because, don't get me wrong, I'm not playing the victim. I still got to work, but I did 4 months quarantine in 2.5 years. So that drove me up the wall, literally. So I'm in this little room and I'm walking around the outside. That's how I'm getting my steps up. So what did I do? I invested in myself. And I thought, why did it take so long to invest in myself? So I hired a sports psych. I found it hard to use the team psychs because you open up to him, who's he getting paid by? Head coach. So that, signs of weakness. So I found that a bit funny. So I still use my guy to this day, and it's just little things like maybe journaling, right? If you're struggling, or if you're not struggling to download stuff, I just write it down. Ask yourself a couple of questions. How do you feel? Why do you feel that way? What can I do to change? You do that at breakfast time. I might give myself a rating, 5 out of 10. How do I get to a 6 at lunch?
Yep.
So what can I do to change? I might just do a little gym session. This isn't COVID I'm talking.
Yep. And,
right, have your meal, maybe Skype someone, whatnot. Right, it's the afternoon. How do I get from a 6 to a 7 in the evening? And then just little things like break it down. And then before you go to bed, what am I doing the next day? Excuse me, because as well as I do with social media, laying in bed, that's the first thing you look at when you're getting them. I'm so guilty of it. But if I've written down what I'm doing, straight up, first task done, bang, 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 rolls into your day. So when you invest in yourself in that way, I wish I had done it earlier.
Yeah.
And we always give ourselves an excuse not to do something.
That's right.
Like I'm talking about shoulder injuries. During that period, I was always asking, it's not what I can't do, it's what I can do. All right, so I'm outside in a sling. All right, you know what? Actually, I can work on my cricket IQ or my leadership, or once I'm out of a sling, I can move. Let's work on some leg speed, rather than, oh no, I can't do this. As I said, the easy excuse. So yeah, it's been a cool journey. But
focus on the positive.
That's right, and now that I'm more closer to the end than the start, I love relaying these messages. Because then young kids now don't make the same mistake or just learn quicker. And if I say I've got to do it, if I tell them to do something, I've got to do it myself. So then I'm accountable.
No, absolutely. Do you know what goes through your mind leading up to a game, and do you have any specific mental preparation leading into a big game?
Let's go Big Bash game, for example. Always nervous the first game. There's hype around Big Bash. You leading run score the Big Bash. You're well clear on the sixes. It's always that bit of pressure, right?
Yep.
You always want to, and I make this mistake every year. You know what? I'm just going to get myself in. I'm just going to get to 20 and see how it goes. The game might open up, and you get out.
Yep.
And I think, why? the hell did I not just go out there and play the way I play and put the ball on the back foot in the first couple of balls?
Yep.
Always do it. So you'll watch. It'll happen this year. I'll get there a little nervous 20 or whatever. But, yeah, sometimes I like to – well, I don't like to do it, but I play my best cricket after, something that hasn't gone well or had a shit lead up or shit preparation.
Okay.
Your back's against the wall, like nothing to lose. That fear of failure just goes out the window. Whereas when all the dominoes are lined up, you go, oh, mate, I'm on tonight. And then it doesn't work out. You go, where does it go from here?
Yeah.
But do I get nervous? Do I have a routine? I do like... I do like a subway before the game.
Yep.
I do like keeping to myself. I am big on no phones on day of a game because especially you're away, you're in a hotel room. Generally, you want to have a sleep in, so the curtains are shut, so it's quite dark, and you can sit there, as I said, on social media, just scrolling through, and before you know it's lunchtime, and your eyes have just adjusted here for 4 hours.
Yep.
So I've got like a no phone rule.
Great idea.
Much easier when you're in Brisbane. You go outside, you're in your house, you take the dogs for a walk, but you can still do that when you're away. So golf clubs are generally on tour. You might even play 9 holes of golf because you've trained that hard. People go, how can you play golf then play cricket? I said, I do that every time, like before training, and I still smack them at training. Yep. If you overthink it and you've hardened your body that well that 9 holes in a buggy, you're not going to get tired for that night.
No.
So, no phone. Staying off social media as well. Sometimes even deactivate it throughout the tournament so you're not reading all that white noise. And then you're just being in the moment with your mates. So, Big Bash, we've got 3 or 4 overseas. I'm now down in Adelaide, so I want to get to know Adelaide. I want to get to know the locals. So actually be in the moment rather than just being confined in your hotel. So I'm quite big on that. And then, to be honest, I'm not really thinking about the game too often, too much so on game day. I know who I'm facing. Or how about you just play every ball on its merits? That's what my dad told me growing up, right? Yep. Sometimes you can overthink it. You do your research, how you got out against that team or if it's how they're going to attack you. But where I'm at now in my career, I don't need to have a full meeting. I'm not massive on team meetings, but I do understand it from a team dynamic. Just go out there and play what's in front of you because that's what's got me there in the first place.
Is that what you're thinking about as you're walking out to the middle?
Oh, I'm batting number 3, wicket falls, I go out, I touch the ground. When I touch or punch the ground, and then I run.
Yep.
That means I'm in the contest, so I'm up. So I say to myself, I'll run out there and obviously do a few arm swings, whatnot, a few leg swings. Be sharp, watch the ball is what I say to myself, because if you're not sharp, the ball's going to be beaten and your pole's going to be knocked out of the ground before you know it. Be sharp, watch your ball. Watch your ball might sound very simple, but I might just watch it to where it bounces, not to where it's hitting my bat. And there's a massive difference. You think you're watching the ball until you're watching the ball. And believe it or not, breathing. So, I tell you what, it slows everything down. It slows everything down. Yeah. So that's a big one for me. You'll see, I'll mark centre. You see me take a deep breath in and just relax. And yes, I've still got be sharp, watch the ball in my brain, and your beans are going, but you're calm. You got that clarity, and so that's a big one for me. And then my mindset is just have really good intent. It doesn't have to be trying to hit the ball in the air for 6, but I'm going to hit the ball hard.
Positive intent.
You're exactly right. I'm out there to score runs. Or you just read the situation of the game as well. So understand there might be Matt Short at the other end going bonkers and I could just need to rotate, or there's a little bit of time up my sleeve. So, and these are the things you learn as you get older. Look, there's been games where I've had that intent and I've hit it straight up first ball. But as I said, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the breathing. It's been a huge lessons that I've had to learn in so many different areas of my life of just to breathe. And, it certainly calms me down. What's it feeling like when you are walking out in front of a packed house at the Gabba with all the screaming fans?
No, it's the best. It's the best. And I was very lucky the Brisbane Heat gave my family a corporate box as well, and I know exactly where it is. And I suppose over the last 10, 12 years, myself and Brendan McCullum were a very strong blueprint of the Brisbane Heat. So probably felt more expectation to perform. There's a lot of people going there just to watch you bat or whatnot. So, but that also drives you as well. And when it gets a little bit tough out in the middle, you bite down your mouth guard and you go, right, let's go. So, because I firmly believe, like a bit like the pyramid, the bigger the base, the higher the point, right? So you do the hard work. That doesn't happen by accident, how high you can go. So,
well put. And
also respecting the game. The moment you disrespect the game, it'll bite you in the ass very quickly. So, it's it's cricket. It's a gentleman's game, but you got to do whatever you can to win, whether in the right manner, obviously. But it's a great feeling running out of the Gabba. the atmosphere is unbelievable, especially the Big Bash season. The boys did very well last year. They won the comp, and that was just electric watching it on TV.
Yep.
But yeah, it's because the majority of your friends and family at the Gabba, that expectation just plays a little bit more part on you. And when you get for duck or whatever, you just feel like you let them down a little bit. But that's where your real mates don't give a shit.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. It's quite funny because when I was playing Sheffield Shield, my mum, like up in the box, she would sit there with her fingers crossed whenever I walk out, and you weren't allowed to change seats or get up if I was batting. So like there's a box of 10 or whatever. No, you got to stay there. There was one day Sheffield Shield, I got 250. I batted all day. And she's like, it wasn't a thank you. It was like, my fingers are so weird. It was like, but she's up there riding my wave, and I know that feeling, and that's cool, especially when you pass a milestone or whatever. And that's when you asked the question about how was I as a boy. Might have been a smart ass then, but that's paying off now, right? She's reaping those rewards, so it's really cool.
How good. You touched on it before, but when you've had you're in a form slump or you've had those few games where you haven't scored as many as you would have liked, how do you tame that inner critic?
Just a game of cricket. That's why Darren Lynn was so good.
Yep.
You can beat yourself up all you want. You can hit more balls. Sometimes better off to hit less balls, depending on your schedule. Someone like a Magnus or Matthew Hayden would hit plenty more balls, just because they felt they needed to. I felt like I needed to hit the ball harder.
Yeah.
Just one or two shots and I'm away. It might take one or two more innings, but that's okay. I'm one closer. As I said, I'm going to make that team pay when I get that opportunity. But yeah, I used to get sort of wound up and, try and blame someone else, why this or I'm lucky. But it's a game of cricket. And this is why cricket can be a shit game, because you can be in the form of your life. You can get a jaffer that goes around a corner, or someone takes a hanger, or you can get a full toss and you get caught on the fence, and you're in. You know what I mean? So, as I said, I haven't played Test cricket, but that's why it's called Test cricket, because it's tested physical, mental, all those strengths, and that's why you're at the top of your game as well, because if it's easy, everyone would do it.
Exactly.
Right? And there's that fear factor of Tatey bowling 150 kilometres an hour. Just standing still, not backing away, things like that. When I was playing for Australia, the worst part about playing for Australia was the net sessions. Yeah. Stark, Cummins, Hazelwood, Pattinson, Ryan Harris. I'm thinking, I'm not going to make it out of here alive. No. You've got all the pattern in the world and just bang. And there's always one of them that's going to be 12th man.
Yep.
And they're all trying to bowl quick with a new ball on seaming wickets. And but that's the mentality of Australian sport, right?
Yep.
Don't get bitter, get better.
Exactly. What's been the lowest point in your career? Has that been that shoulder injury, do you think?
Mate, I think so. Simply because I didn't want to have to go through all the rehab again. And I knew there was a big decision to be made around, do I want to just play T20 cricket and long format cricket? How am I going to get longevity out of it?
Yep.
And probably the criticism I caught with that, obviously cricket's a traditional game, especially in Australia. It cropped a lot of criticism from, the elder statesmen, but then I was their son's favourite player because they love T20.
Yep.
So once I figured that out, I was all right. But yeah, I suppose just I wouldn't say a low point, but not performed when I played for Australia.
Yep.
It's probably what I'm disappointed about. Not low, because at no point was I depressed or things like that, and those terms can be easily used. So it was just a harder period in my career, but never a shocking period. As I said, one of my best mates passed away in the cricket field. Here am I going, I've had a shoulder recon.
Puts it in perspective.
That's right. So at no point was it that. It was just a little hurdle. And it took me a little bit longer to work out what I needed to do. And low periods, leaving the Brisbane Heat, that sucked. Don't get me wrong, that sucked. That was only 2 years ago now. And as I said, I think I was a major blueprint of the Brisbane Heat. So that hurt leaving. And don't get me wrong, I wanted the Heat to fail. But about halfway through the season, I was thinking, what a low prick for me, because they're my best mates.
Yeah.
You know, why would I want my mates to fail? It's a game of cricket. Not the first bloke to leave won't be the last. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So not low periods, but just periods where I let myself go and probably wasn't at my best mentally, but by no means a victim.
Yep. So obviously there's a physical element and strength and technique to hitting a cricket ball into the stands. What does a typical training week look like for you?
It depends what time of the year is. So, for example, let's go right now. So I'm going to Toronto the tournament's in 5 weeks. I've always I look good, feel good. So you're in the gym, sort of go for a run here and there. You're in the surf. You know, you want to hit the golf ball further than your mates. So I go to like F45. I go to like a fit stop or similar type training.
Yep.
And then so that they basically do all parts of your body, and weights and cardio. Got a gym at home as well, so I'm very lucky that I can do specific stuff. I've had a hamstring that goes now and again, especially after long periods of time off. Having that ACL, they've taken the graft out, so it is a bit weaker. So I've got to make sure they're nice and strong. The shoulder, get my work in. So I've had a personal coach for the last 16 years, Gabba Fitness, and that's he does my batting. So when I left Brisbane, this probably made it even more crucial because I didn't have a team to train with here. I needed someone, and my personal coach was the best thing for me. And then utilise my own gym. But to get up each day, I find was the hardest because I could just do it. If I want to sleep in, I could just train at midday or at night time or train when I want. If I'm being really honest, I probably should have started hitting balls 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I'm doing it now.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm chasing my tail a little bit.
Which is what you like.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it's a thrill of the chase, right? It's just when someone doubts you, right? So, but believe it or not, I smacked him yesterday.
Yep.
But I tell you what, I'm sore as shit today. So that's the pros and cons of it. But what's a training week look like? I hit plenty of balls, but not in one session because T20 cricket, I'm facing 50 balls max, right? So I need to work on my start. So I might hit balls 3 times a week, but only for 20, 25 minutes.
Yep.
I won't never hit for an hour because I practice bad habits. And then my gym stuff, I like to do most days. Big believer in 24 hours in a day, 1 hour you can work on your body. But that doesn't have to be gym. That can just be active recovery. You can go for a walk, take your dogs for a walk. You know.
Our philosophy is 26 minutes, and that's a minimum. So, mate, glad you're doing an hour. Well done.
Yeah. So, but like, it could be low intensity. You're right. It could just be fluffing
Just
about.
move.
That's right. Just not laying in bed, doing something. I actually get sore from laying in bed. You know what I mean? But yeah, just working on yourself, and then day before a game, I'm not really phased, to be honest. I might play golf. I might do whatever. I'm not one to be that structured all the time. I suppose in T20 cricket, it's like you might be opening one day, you might be batting 6. You got to have that flexibility. So I know I've done all that hard work, as I said, like that pyramid, bigger the base. I've covered all bases. Let's go get it now. So it's. I mean, most of the time, as we alluded to, it's 70% in the mind, right? So I know I've done the work here or there, but also I've been doing it for 15, 16 years. So it's a bit like riding a bike. You never forget that skill.
No.
And it's, as I said, it's an excuse. If I don't score runs in this next tournament, I should have started 3 weeks earlier. That's a cop-out, right? that's an easy cop out. So as I said, it's like riding your bike. It's just your will to win.
Yeah. What's the best advice or tip you could give any aspiring athlete out there?
I've already said it, but it's not what you can't do, it's what you can do. We're always quick to jump on the victim or too hard basket. And then another one would be from Brendan McCullum, run into fear. When we shit ourselves, we run away from fear or the storm, and the storm keeps chasing you.
Yep.
Just go headbutt the storm, and you'll come out the other side much quicker. That's a big one, because there would have been examples for everyone, whoever's listening, that in a work environment that you're running away from something, and eventually it just catches you, and you go, should have done that earlier. Yeah. So run into fear.
Great advice. What about nutrition? What does an elite batsman eat?
Steak. Love steak. Get it in.
Me too.
Steak pasta. We're known for our steaks, right? Breakfast Creek Hotel. Go down there, have a feed, chips, salad. There's nothing. I'm like one of everyone here. After a game, I'll have McDonald's or a pizza, right? Yep. But that's all right because it's after a game. Yep. Generally, I like a Subway, something just clean and easy. Not big on milkshakes or anything like that. I am lactose. Just generic stuff. I'm no different to the everyday kid out there. Like chocolate bar, a little ice cream. That's still okay. The fact that you're still putting those good supplements into your body, whether it be a protein shake or whatever, you're still ticking all those boxes first, then you can have your reward. The moment you stop having all those, your box ticked first and do that, that's when you'll start, seeing a decline in your performance. And also, after you have a win, have a beer. That's why I play the game.
Celebrate.
Sing the team song, have a beer, and that's what motivates me again to go to the next game.
Yeah. What's the dumbest thing that you've ever done?
Dumbest? Well, first ever game of Big Bash. Brendan McCullum's just had his nose smashed in by Brett Lee at the SCG. I walk out next. I've got my training top on. Not the playing kit, training top. I'm shitting myself because Binger's put the ball through Baz's nose, and then I walked out in my training top. So I didn't realise, didn't click. They were very similar, but no name, no number. I was thinking, oh my God, it's my debut for the Heat. What have I done? Josh Hazelwood steaming in. All I want to do is just hit the ball straight up and get out of there. Like, how dumb can you be?
What's the funniest thing that you've seen happen on a cricket field?
Funniest thing? I've seen Fawad Ahmed. I didn't play in the game. It was a Sheffield Shield game out at Alice Springs, and he's walked out without his bat. I'm not shitting out, without his bat. He's done it. He's done 2 left gloves. He's done 2 right gloves, and he's left his bat on 3 separate occasions. And don't get me wrong, Fuzzy's a great fella, but how do you walk out? It's like when, as cricketers, you have a dream, or when you have a nightmare as a dream, you hit the ball down a fine leg, and you can't get down the other end. You can't run that single. That was basically real life of Fuzzy going out without your bat. So.
Oh, that is an absolute classic. Now, so much has changed in the game in the last 30, 40 years. Where do you see the game going in the future?
Well, definitely not backwards.
No.
I see T20 becoming franchise. So we've already seen the IPL teams buy ILT in Dubai. They're looking at the 100 teams.
Yep.
They're already in the Caribbean. I think they will come into the Big Bash eventually.
Yep.
If Cricket Australia can sort a couple of things out. I see one-day cricket still being international. Obviously, Test cricket here forever. But yeah, T20 cricket, I can just see it being franchises. And they'll still have the World Cup, but come together every 2 or 4 years.
Yeah. It's growing fairly substantially over in the States at the moment, isn't it?
Well, it's I don't know if you watch a lot of baseball. I don't. But how many times, on average, does a ball go into the crowd?
Yeah, not that often.
Once, twice, maybe a game. And cricket's doing half a dozen, right?
Exactly.
So for me, that's. And on another note, believe it or not, the second most visited site in America is Cricinfo because of the Indian population.
Yeah,
so
okay.
it only makes sense that we take cricket head on in India, which is why we've got the World Cup this year.
Yep.
The pitches could be a little bit better and show a bit more batting friendly, but it's okay. We're in there. You got to get in there. That's the hardest part.
Yep.
So there's a market there. Won't be in my playing generation, but hopefully it's a cricket generation, coaching generation for me over there. But we know the US is the biggest market, right, in the world. So there's opportunities there. And mate, cricket in America, it'll be give it 10 to 20 years and it'll be booming.
Yeah. What about your business, PlayBook.coach? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so PlayBook, mate, it's basically the Uber for sports coaches. So you can type in Brisbane and cricket and all the coaches that have signed up. The coaches name their own price, their own time and own location. And then you can book a coach. It's the easiest way to find a coach, book a coach and pay for a coach, essentially. So I'd say just cricket, but we're all sports. So we've just ticked over. We're about 1,050 coaches Australia-wide now. Netball's our biggest sport. The girls absolutely love coaching. Yep. But don't get me wrong, we're not just an elitist platform. You know, we range from Olympic level coaches to third grade coaches. You might want to move up the batting order. You might want to play for Australia, you might want to move from the wing, or you might just want to have the confidence to play a team sport, which is really cool. And talk about like proud moments. This during COVID, we do Zoom calls, one-on-one, and team sessions. So this kid was non-verbal. I won't name his name, but he would ask his brother the question over a Zoom call, and his brother would ask me. And over half an hour, mum's in the background crying. After 27 minutes of a half-hour call, he then spoke to me, which was amazing.
How good?
Amazing. Like he'd been all the therapy and whatnot. But I'm not saying I'm Superman, but the power of what athletes can do for kids is unbelievable. Now he's going to Big Bash games with signs, and that might change his life. So that's what we're about at PlayBook, bettering your best, giving kids confidence and competence, and it's cool. So we're ready to take over Australia and the professional sports coaching world.
Mate, I love it. What a great initiative.
Yeah, it's awesome. And to be honest, it was how we come up with the idea, myself and business partner. It was, how can I give this, a young kid now the same opportunity that I had? I was very lucky going through playing representative stuff, being coached by Jimmy Ma, X, Y, Z, and how can we do that? How can we replicate that? Or send coaches to rural areas? Where are we going to find the next Andrew Simons? Things like that. I've always said the game of cricket doesn't owe me anything. I owe the game of cricket. Now I've got the ability to do that in all sports. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, how good. Now, we all know Chirs Lynn, the cricketer. Tell us a little bit about Chirs Lynn, the person. You've shared a bit. What keeps you busy? What do you like doing outside of cricket?
What do I like doing? I love making people smile, whether it's having a beer, whether it's going to the horses, going to the track. I've got 5 or 6 horses that I love from High Caliber Racing. Great bunch of lads there. Love playing golf. Love going to golf days. The reason why I love golf is you get to meet a bloke for 5 hours in a buggy, 4 to 5 hours, right? And you actually break down a few more layers. Not only that, is I love trying to hit the ball further than anyone on the course.
Exactly.
Can't puff shit, but that's a different story. But mate, I just love being outside, love being out and about, a very social person. And that's why I struggled through COVID. Because of being confined, just love getting out. And look, when you're at the pub or the Broncos game, people love coming up saying good day. Lenny, how are you? Just give everyone 2 minutes of your day. You never know what you might do or change or motivate. Or you might, from a personal point of view, you might meet. If what's life after cricket look like? Could just met my new boss. You know what I mean? Down the track. And I've always said manners are free. So, and if someone buys you a beer, always buy them back. Things like that. And I just love being out and about. I like to think I'm easygoing. If I don't want to talk to anyone, I'll be at home. That's my private space. But because I'm out, that means I want to go enjoy people, right? Yep. I'm proud Queenslander. Obviously Origin. And I'll tell you the difference between Queensland and New South Wales. New South Wales hate playing Queensland. Queensland love playing for Queensland. Yeah. That's as simple as I can put it. So,
mate, I love your attitude. Where is Chirs Lynn 5 years from now?
Where is Chirs Lynn 5 years from now? Look, hopefully PlayBook's just boomed. I've won 40 mil the lotto tonight, and I've got my feet up somewhere, mate. It's I want to get into coaching. Coaching. I don't mind commentating as well. As I said, the game of cricket doesn't owe me anything. This is my way of giving back to elite coaching. I feel like T20 is my niche, and it might be power hitting or just batting, whatever it may be. So to do that and still get to tour the world with your mates, right? Yep. And I think, excuse me, that's why a lot of ex-athletes miss. It's that touring part of the job, because that's what got you up as a kid, as an athlete, right? So
it's like connection and community.
Absolutely. And just going out and meeting new people. Don't get me wrong, you get to travel the world for pretty much free as well. So the opportunity's there. So I'd love to be a coach of a T20 side somewhere, but just keep giving back and don't go looking too hard or desperate for it, because do the right things, it'll come.
Yeah, fantastic, mate. Now we're into the quick fire questions. You ready?
I'm ready.
My all-time favourite pitch to bat on?
The Gabba.
The best coach you've played under?
Darren Lehman.
The greatest cricketing decision you've ever made?
Moving to T20 cricket.
The smartest teammate that you've played with?
Brendan McCullum.
The most runs that you've scored in an innings?
250 versus Victoria at the Gabba at Sheffield Shield. They had Siddle, Pattinson, Hastings. One of my fondest innings as well.
The bowler you least look forward to facing?
So Murali, faced him 3 times. Got me out first ball the first time, second ball the second time. The third time I worked out I better sweep him, and I got him. He got me out third or fourth ball.
What are you most proud of?
How much I feel like I've grown the game and leaving the game in a better place than what you found it.
If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, who would that be?
I've always thought about this, and you can say the rock stars, but I'd have to say the 3 blokes in Phil Hughes, Shane Warne, and Andrew Simons.
A cricketing memory off the field that you'll never forget?
Well, I wasn't on the field, but Andrew Simons belting the bloke when the streaker ran across. You can't forget that.
Absolute classic, mate. Your favourite golf course?
Favourite golf course? I'd have to say a place called Sage Valley over near Augusta. And it's a great story as well. And the guy got rejected membership, and he was the builder he built one Walmart, and say the quote was $1 million, and it only cost him $750 to build it. He returned the $250, and the bloke said, "You can build every Walmart." So talk about good deeds. That's what happened, and he built his own golf course. Away you go.
What a great story.
Yeah, magical story.
Your best catch?
Best catch. It was actually my debut for Kolkata Knight Riders in Abu Dhabi. I got to bat with Jarks Callis that day. Unbelievable feeling. And then we were obviously bowling second, so very dewy, and they needed 6 off 2 balls, 6 off 3 balls maybe. And AB de Villiers is batting for Bangalore, and he's hit this 6, and I've ran. And as I'm running, I've slipped over, and it's gone right in one of those lights, and I've gone, shit, where is it? And it's gone just above my head, and I've basically jumped from my knees, and I was over the boundary, and I've come back into the boundary, landed on my back, and we won the game from there. So I was like, when you're in that moment, it was like slow motion. I was like, shit, I'm never playing again. I've caught this. And then I've caught it. I thought, oh my God, thank God for that. So yeah, it's talking about those light bulb moments, kind of puts you on the map a little bit, because like that's when social media was going through the roof, and before you know it, you get a truckload of followers and whatnot. And like it's not all about that, but it was cool.
What's the most memorable match that you've played in?
Most memorable match. Jeez, probably my second game for Australia, T20 against England, at the MCG when there was about 95,000 there. I didn't even bat.
Yep.
I fielded about 4 balls. I remember Tubby Taylor. I was on the on-field mic, and I couldn't hear because they're doing the Mexican wave, and I was just thinking, how wild is this? And then that mirrors to a game when we played against Sachin Tendulkar, against Kolkata versus Mumbai in Wankhede Stadium. Exact same, couldn't hear a thing. The only difference is they don't drink over there. So this is wild, right?
Wow. The greatest cricketing advice that you've received?
Greatest cricketing advice I've ever received. From Darren Lehman, the sun will come up tomorrow.
Well said. Your best bowling figures?
Best bowling figures. Well, I've only got 3 Big Bash wickets and 1 List A, but it was in a semi-final at the Marble Stadium against the Renegades, and I actually got out Aaron Finch and Ben Rohrer, so probably 2 for 20 off 2 overs. Both caught on the fence, but no one sees that. And then my other wicket was in the Big Bash final over in Perth, so I wouldn't call them great stats, but just chipping.
You're a batsman. That's not bad for a bowler.
Well, that's the last time I bowled, to be fair.
Who'd you most like batting with?
Brendan McCullum, hands down, the Bash brother. Just made batting so much fun. We didn't even talk about batting when we were out there. You know, we're just like when you're in the moment, you're on autopilot, you're just having fun.
Yep. The best cricketing atmosphere that you've ever experienced?
Probably those the MCG in my second game for Australia, and then Wankhede Stadium. There's another one when we won the IPL for Kolkata. Obviously, we did the lap of honour a couple of days later. The crowd was 100,000 inside and 100,000 outside. Just absolutely chaos.
Wow.
So this is why you do have good and bad days in India, but this is why I appreciate it so much.
100,000 people outside the stadium.
Outside the stadium. You can just imagine how long it took to get from hotel to stadium.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, mate. Final question. Finish this sentence. I believe
Australia win the World Cup.
Mate, well said. It's been an absolute privilege and an honour talking with you, mate. And how busy you are. I really appreciate your time, mate.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Mate. Appreciate it.
Now, if you've enjoyed this episode, we have a small favour to ask. Please take a moment to subscribe, review, and share this podcast with someone you think will appreciate it. Your support helps us reach more listeners, and we can continue delivering content that educates, inspires, and empowers you. Don't forget to follow us on social media to stay in the loop with all our latest news. 2024 is going to be a huge year, and we'll continue running our weekly Friday morning kayaking sessions on the beautiful Brisbane River, along with plenty more thrilling adventures, exciting activities and challenges are planned. We'd love for you to join us and be part of our growing community. Remember, success is all about consistency, and by investing 26 minutes exercising both your mind and your body every day, you too can become the strongest, fittest and healthiest version of you. So stay tuned and stay active.